This Chalks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Let's turn it up a little bit.
It's up.
How many holes are you going to punch in the wall today?
17.
Over.
Have I told you about these headphones?
As someone that has his own headphone issues, I'm a little more concerned with my circumstances than your circumstances.
No, because now I have to go Google how to deactivate voice activation.
Ooh.
So these Sony headphones have some kind of voice activation system that randomly turns on. All right, in the app, navigate the sound toggle, specifically speak to chat figure models on the WH1000XM4. Just tell me how to turn it off. Hold 2 fingers to the sensor until you hear speak to chat deactivated. She's not saying it. So what happens is when I talk, the headphones turn off.
You sure it's that side? Shouldn't maybe not the other?
Because I've done it 100 times. So I can't hear what you guys say because when I start to talk, they turn off.
Oh.
That's what you get for buying Sony.
Oh, boy. Now it's Sony's fault.
Let's welcome in Cory Reamer to the show, who I will not be able to hear because my headphones will turn off every time I speak.
Let's go.
I should allow McElroy to conduct the interview. That's the way it's going to go. But I'm just negative, and I just don't like people.
100%.
That's where we are today.
I've always thought that.
Cory, how are you doing?
That's a reputation around everywhere. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. No doubt.
Yeah.
Just don't like people.
Absolutely.
Just don't like it.
Salty. He's salty. Salt block.
Something positive, though, that you have to inform the listeners of is your role with Alabama football this fall. What's that going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Going to join Chris Stewart, Tyler Watts, and the rest of the Crimson Tide Sports Network as the sideline reporter for the radio. So it's been a part of the group for a couple years doing some Monday night shows and a few other fill-in spots, but got a permanent role taking care of that this year. Looking forward to it. It should be pretty exciting. I know it's ran into you and the other day at dinner and immediately started asking some questions on how to actually do this. Done it once, but it was a fire drill. And if you were watching me the entire time at the Texas game, which most people weren't because it's radio, but I was lost as a ball in high grass. It was trying to figure out where to stand, what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands, but looking forward to this. This is going to be fun.
I think you're going to be awesome at it, and I think it's going to be great having a little bit of a defensive perspective on it. And then I don't think anybody else would agree more that having extra football acumen on the field only makes the broadcast better. So I'm excited to hear that, and I know Alabama fans will love to hear it too. But as you and I discussed, you have to be a little bit careful because your vantage point, not always what you want from that part of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the hardest part is where do you go stand? Where do I need to be trying to navigate? Where am I allowed to go? They kind of just threw me out there the first time, and I didn't know what the rules were. Where on the field can you go roam and make sure you've got a good vantage point? So, bear with me the first couple games. Hopefully we'll get it figured out and be able to provide some sort of an insight of what we see. But it should be fun. This is a good group. Tyler and Chris do a phenomenal job. Just happy that I've, got them to lean on if, as this progresses and we start getting a little bit comfortable with each other. But it's going to be fun. This is, y'all know this. The fall is now pretty booked up. This is going to be – but I'm looking forward to this season. I don't know. I know y'all talked about it a ton. This, especially from the Alabama side, I've got a lot of excitement around what this team's going to be, and I think it's going to be a fun year to be a part of.
It'll be a really fun year, bud. You're going to do awesome. You're going to love it. It's so fun, man. Nothing better than calling games. That's for sure. And being on the sideline, dude,
for sure.
I've always been jealous of Cole. I mean, the sideline, while in September is a little less comfortable than October, November, it's going to be terrific, and you'll give a great vantage point. What do you think, Cory, are going to be some of your biggest priorities while on the sideline? Kind of watching players, watching coaches, watching scheme. Where do you think your eyes are going to navigate early in the season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just trying to figure out exactly this defensive scheme. It was a lot easier to go out there when you've got Coach Saban's defense to be able to dissect from Alabama's defensive side of the ball exactly what they're trying to do. You can pick up on what fire zone, cover 2, cover 3, give your insight on where the edge support is supposed to be in the run game. Now you've got to learn a little bit about what Kane Womack's trying to do. Completely different, a lot less man coverage on the outsides, a lot more zone, and different position names. I think that's the biggest thing early on is getting comfortable with what this Alabama defense is supposed to be doing, or where all the weaknesses in this defense are that you're having to protect. Getting comfortable with their lingo a little bit so that you can translate it as well as possible to the audience who's listening on the radio. That's the hardest part, is trying to draw up that picture and give them a visual that they can see while they're listening. That's definitely going to be the challenge early on, but going to try to get down there a couple of times before the season starts and have some conversations and get to watch a little bit and get comfortable with these guys. I don't know about y'all, and the good news is for this Alabama team, there's a ton of guys that are returning, which is great for me. There's names that are not – there's going to be new names, obviously, but I was talking about this with somebody else, in this industry now, you've got so many guys that the roster changes and turnover so much, in the off season with the transfer portal, that it's almost impossible to keep up with who your guys are, until you get a couple games into the season. You've heard these names for years before they become starters and jump on the field, but now, you got 3 or 4 guys that are out there that are coming from all these different schools that you've never heard their names before. So I think that's going to be the most difficult part, is just keeping up with what the roster looks like.
Cory Reamer joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You'll hear him on sidelines for Alabama football broadcasts this fall. You kind of alluded to it there, some of the differences in what you guys ran under Saban and now what this Alabama defense will be running under Kane Womack. What's a little bit different that you like? What's something that you've noticed that you're like, man, I like the way they do that? Like that would have been cool to kind of run things that way or operate that way.
Well, I think conceptually the biggest thing is, Coach Saban was always known for putting in defenses that were extremely complicated. He wanted to pattern match. He wanted to have checks for every offensive check that we saw. Any formation change, we always had a couple different plays that were, in the holster that we could call if they gave us, even if they shifted to different looks. I think Kane Womack does that too, but he does it in a way. His philosophy is more of let's keep it as simple as we possibly can for our guys, where we make it look like it's confusing to an opposing offense. They're not real sure what we're in, but the concepts are a little bit easier where you can go out there and play fast. There was a special teams coordinator in New York who that was his infamous saying. He's like, the great thing about special teams is it's simple. Those guys can go out there and be athletes. They don't have to think too much and go play fast. And I think Kane Womack's goal is that. Let's let these guys go out there. They're phenomenal athletes. Let's make them go out there and just play football as fast as they possibly can. And if there are mistakes, they're doing it at full speed, and you can kind of make up for that. If you're out there thinking too much, you're going to be half a step behind, and then gaps open up and holes open up in the defense. And I think that was a lot of the struggles for a lot of the younger guys as they would come into Tuscaloosa under Coach Saban and Kirby, is just trying to pick up on the play calls and the concepts of what that defense was supposed to be. They couldn't go out there and play at full speed, and it took them a while to get adjusted to it. And I think Kane's philosophy is let's go out there and let's go make it as simple as possible. They don't have to think too much, go play fast.
Looking at just kind of Kalen's approach, and I know you haven't been around him a ton. I know you haven't been around Coach Womack a ton either. But just knowing how you played for Coach and how different the approach is now, how the modern day player is different as well. What have you picked up from the conversations you've had with Kalen and or the experience you've had being around him?
Yeah, I think first of all, he's a genuine guy. I think if you don't know, if you don't see him outside of what you see in the media, he's pretty laid back. he's kind of, he is a genuinely nice guy, cares about these guys, and I think that is a different approach from a coaching standpoint. Not that Coach Saban didn't care about us, but his attitude towards us was different. He was trying to get the best out of us, and I think there's multiple ways to skin that cat. And Kalen DeBoer does a good job of caring for these guys and really encouraging them to go out there and play fast. You see him on the practice field, though. He gets after him. He lights him up, too. He's got high expectations. And, that's I haven't been around him a ton to really get to interact with him and see a ton of his time with the players. But from the little bit I've seen, it's kind of what I'm picking up. And these guys love playing for him. I think with all the extra elements that are in play with football today, it's kind of how you have to be a coach, which is different than when you and I were there and when Cole was there. There's a lot of easy outs for these players, and trying to develop these guys as individuals and as football players at a time just takes a whole lot different touch. And but he's figured it out. His record speaks for himself. I know last year was a little bit disappointing from an overall record standpoint, but I kind of think of it as the same way as when Coach Saban showed up. Even though the roster looks completely different in terms of how many 5-stars and 4-stars Coach DeBoer inherited, it's still, you got to have buy-in from these guys and what your system is and the beliefs and the values that you're trying to implement on your team. And even though these players are good, doesn't mean that they're, they signed up for Coach Saban. And there's a lot of guys that might not have been excited to be with the new staff, and it takes a year to kind of figure out what that looks like. And some guys move on, and now you've got your second year. You've got a roster of people that believe in you and are excited to go play for you. So it'll be interesting to see how this team picks up and runs with it. Sounds, from Ryan Williams and a couple other players this offseason, there's a lot of excitement in the locker room and kind of some unity across the board of what they're trying to go out there and do.
So what is your ultimate expectation? Greg thinks this could be the best secondary in college football, thinks this defense could take huge steps this year. Are you kind of in line with that?
Yeah, I am. I think this is one of the best linebacking cores that we've had in a really long time across the board. Not just the first four guys, but I think the two deep, especially on the inside, could be some of the best that we've seen, and they're just different. It's not Rolando McClain and Dante Hightower back there. Even though these guys are bigger than some of the guys that we've had in the past, they're still able to move and play in coverage at a really high rate. But I'm excited to see what Deontay Lawson does this year. A guy that's been a leader of this team. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's fun to watch. I'm excited to see what Clay Russaw does. I think this year, different from what we had, last year we didn't have a ton of success of getting a lot of pressure off the edge. And I think that the secondary, though, made up for that by how many turnovers they were able to create. I'm expecting to see a lot more pressure on quarterbacks from this group. And you've got a couple transfers that come in, and Hill Green, that's going to be a guy that is fighting for a starting job as well. Some new names around there, but really pumped to see Bray Hubbard. Talked to Freddie Roach and Josh Chapman the other day, and they were speaking so highly of Bray Hubbard, of what he's been able to do. He's a guy that just goes out there and grinds, has earned his role as a starter. But Keon Sabb coming back, it's going to be a pretty phenomenal group. This is definitely one of the better defenses that we've seen from a returning standpoint in a long time.
Cory, we always appreciate the time, man, and we're happy for you. I think we all agree here that it's going to be awesome to hear you on Alabama broadcasts, and we'd love to do this again soon.
Yeah, man, and good news is I did find out last night they're going to allow me to wear some shorts on the sideline for the Florida State game, which is good. I hate it for you wherever you're going to be your first week if you got to be in pants, but
it's not going to be shorts.
That was a massive win.
That's huge.
I'll be in shorts. It's massive.
That is gigantic.
Enjoy, guys.
All right,
good to talk to y'all.
Cory Reamer, new sideline reporter for Alabama Football Radio broadcast, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He'll be great, G-Mac. It'll be fun to hear him.
It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy for him. It's going to be fun for him to get back out there. The sideline is where all the action is, so it's cool to get that vantage point. I know he'll give a great experience for the fans that'll be listening to him.
I don't think there's any doubt. All right, continue your feedback, 800-239-9569. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Going to continue going around the SEC. Before we do that, I'll tell you about your CBD store. If you're having some issues with arthritis or anxiety, or if your pet is also. I've had multiple pets in my household getting older, having trouble getting around, and treats from your CBD store has been able to help them. Anxiety, if the doorbell rings or you get the storms that come in, they can help your pets there. They can also help you there. Better focus throughout the course of your day. Better sleep at night. Your CBD store has products that can help with this. They have 3 locations to help you. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trussville just off 459. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. Yes, they are open, regardless of what you may have heard about other places in and around Birmingham and Alabama. Largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. Go check them out today. Tell them you heard about them right here on Mac and Cube, your CBD store where good health hits home. All right, back to go around the Southeastern Conference here from multiple coordinators, coaches, and players next on Jock.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.